How to make a Dyneema soft shackle. Okay, hello everybody. And in today's little exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to create this particular shackle. And as you can see, I've got a couple of different shackles here. And also the other feature that's on these shackles is that they have got like a quick release lanyard. So you can see I pull the lanyard down, it opens up the loop, and you can undo your shackle. Now, I am an absolute fanatic for soft shackles because I use them everywhere. I use them in my car to hold things in place wherever I can hold things in place. And I've also got a couple attached to my dog's lead so that I can just undo the shackle, just quickly pull on the drawstring or the quick release string there, put it around, for example, his lead at that point there, and then just close it up again, and there we have it. We've got one in number, rather nice, soft shackle. However, I will say this to you. If you are going to launch yourself off the side of a building or do something rather dramatic with your body that involves Dyneema, then this is not for you. Because I don't know what the safety ratings are for Dyneemas, diamond knots, etc. However, if you're interested, I will put a link to a channel called How Not To, where you can go over there and he basically tests Dyneema and knots to destruction so you can see exactly what is best for you if it is for critical loads. So anyway, let's get knotting and start making a soft shackle. Oh, and I also forgot to say, if you like soft shackles, tell me what you use them for. Just in the comments below, give me some good examples of what you use soft shackles for, because other people may want them as well. Okay, so just, leave me a comment and tell me what you would use a soft shackle for. What we're going to do is we're going to recreate this silver soft shackle, and just to give you an idea of the sizes of this one has a circumference of 10 inches or 26 centimeters, and the diameter is approximately 3 inches or 8 centimeters. And the other thing you've got to take into account is your diamond knot here is also fairly cord hungry, so you're going to have to add some cordage on when you're cutting your Dyneema to actually produce your diamond knot itself. And what I'll do is in the description below, I will give you some measurements and figures to work from so you can then increase or decrease the size of your soft shackle as required. So this now brings us on to my Dyneema here. And what I've done is I've actually cut myself a total of 46 inches. So the total length of this is 46 inches or 117 centimeters. And then the first thing that I do is I fold it in half, and this top part here is going to be a small loop, and we'll see that as we go along. So as you can see, my 46 inches or 117 centimeters of Dyneema here has been folded in half. And you can see here on the top bit here, what I've done is I've pinched it slightly just to misshapen it. And the whole idea of that is that it's going to be a reference point for me to target in a little bit. And you'll see exactly what I mean by that in a second. The next thing I've done is I've measured down approximately 10 inches from that top bite there to here. And I've just marked it with a little red dot at that point there. And that red dot is where my D-Splicer will enter into the Dyneema. So once I've marked it up, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go along and I'm just going to push my Dyneema together at these points here. Just as you go along, push it together, because what you want to do is you want to create yourself a fairly clear path for your D-Splicer to go into. The next thing that we do is at the point where we have marked it, I'm going to just push it open and just pass my D-Splicer between the strands there and then push it up through the middle of my Dyneema. So just keep pushing it up, and then if I turn it this way, it makes it a little bit easier for me. And all I'm going to do now is just gently, and you'll see it tries to pop out every so often, but what you want to do is, is just pop it up through the middle, keep going through the middle until you get to that point which we marked up earlier where we actually folded our rope or our Dyneema in half. And so just gently push it through, keep pushing, and you can sometimes feel it catching inside. Let it free off, and eventually we will get close, not close enough, so get close to the top, and it always wants to jump out at some point. And now we're very close to that point there. So what I do is I just now find a gap and very slowly, and it always on camera, it never comes out right. And there we go. I've now come out at that target point that we marked up earlier. And what I'm going to do now is push on my Dyneema along my D-Splicer just to make it as wide as possible. Because the next thing that we're going to do is on this end here, the end we haven't done anything with, so just bring it round here. What we're going to do now is on our D-Splicer, we've got like 2 wires that we can separate, and you just get your thumb or your fingernail in between those 2 bits of wire, and it's joined at the top there, and then just pass your Dyneema through. Pass it through, and the whole idea is to get as much through as possible so it doesn't catch on its way through. And it can be slightly awkward, so I'm going to open it up a bit more. There we go. And I've now caught my Dyneema at that point there. Once I've done that, you then get hold of your Dyneema and then push it right up to the very end of your D-Splicer, and then that should nicely lock it in place. And I can see here I've got a bit coming out underneath here. I just want to bring that in. I don't want to catch it on the inside. Now that we've done that, the next thing we can do, just to make things a little bit easier, is get ourselves, use your marlin spike or something like that, and just open up the initial entrance as wide as you can, because what we want to do now is we want to get hold of our D-Splicer and we want to pull through where we've actually caught it. And as you can see, it catches, and it really can be sometimes quite difficult to actually pull it through initially, especially for some reason when you're working with thick Dyneema, it's always a little bit more difficult. And so just twist it, turn it, and there we go, it suddenly went. And now what we can do is just carry on pulling it. So I'm going to keep pulling it, and eventually there it comes. It's coming out from where we initially went in, and you can see we're at the right spot because there's the red dot that we marked up earlier, and we've now pulled our Dyneema through. And so all we need to do is just keep pulling it through. And now at this point here, we don't need the D-Splicer anymore. That can be thrown into touch. And all we need to do now is just go along here and basically reshape. And now this is now the outer core of our soft shackle. And so I can now pull through, keep pulling through, and the whole idea now is what we're going to do, and this is probably where your D-Splicer comes in handy now, is we're going to keep pulling through that inner piece at that point there, and eventually it will lock around the D-Splicer at that point there, and then just gently tease it through, stretch it out, and then pull some more through, And there we have it. We have now basically from here to here, we've now created the body of our soft shackle. And if I get my silver one here, what we've basically done is, if I undo that there, you can see we've created from there to there is that from there to there. Okay? So anyway, that's that bit now done. So all I'm going to do is just go round, check it's nice and neat and tidy, and it does look nice and neat and tidy, and then just pull it through, make sure it looks smart, make sure it's well dressed and looks smart, okay, or dress smartly. Right, so now that we've done that, the next thing that we need to do to lock it off, once we've completed it, just go and just stretch it, dress it smartly, make it look nice again. The next thing that we need to do is we need to lock it off at this point here. And to do that, what we're going to do is, this one is the outer core of our Dyneema, and this one is the inner core of our Dyneema. And what we want to do here now is we want to pass that outer core just directly at this point here where we marked it off with our little red dot. We just pass the upper one through the lower one, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get hold of my Swedish fid for this one, and I'm going to open up, so push your Dyneema outwards like so, and just find the exact middle so that you've got the exact middle, and just pass it through that bottom one there, and just turn it over. And as you can see, I haven't got it through the exact middle, so I'm just going to take it back a bit, pass it through again, and there we have it. I've passed it through the middle of our Dyneema at that point there. What I'm going to do is, it's easier with a Swedish fid than anything else. You can use your D-Splicer again. And what I'm going to do now is just get the outer core, or the outer part of the Dyneema, and I'm going to just push it through underneath the inner one, bring it out the top there, pull it through, and then what we've done now is we've actually locked it all off nice and neatly, and so it's made it more secure. And then now the favorite bit, because I like decorative knots, is that we're going to tie the bosun's call lanyard knot, also known as the diamond knot, just at this point here. Okay, so before we throw a diamond knot in the end of our soft shackle, if at any time, if you're making this for critical loads or safety purposes, what I would recommend is go over to How Not To, and I'll put a link in the description down below, where they have basically tested Dyneema and its knots to destruction. So if you're worried at all, if you want this just for tying up your dog, using it in the car to secure loads, etc., then you don't need to worry about it. But if you're going to do acrobatics of some sort with this, all I can do is suggest you go over to that channel that I've just listed, How Not To, and just have a look at his playlists on Dyneema and other aspects of rope and knots. So what I've done is, I've gone to the end of my two bits of cordage here, or Dyneema as such, and in one of the legs, here we go, I was very clever. I tied some masking tape around it so you could see the difference, only to realise that white and yellow are very hard to see. So on this one, I've now tied, it's got the masking tape on, and I've put a little bit of red so you can actually so you can see which lines I'm using at which points when we're actually tying our diamond knot. So the first thing I'm going to do is go back up to where our two lines or two bits of Dyneema come out here. And the first thing that you want to do is this is what I do, just get past one. The top one is going over this finger here, and the bottom length of Dyneema is going underneath. And you'll see here, the bottom one is marked in red. And the first thing that I'm going to do is just have them so that they're facing you, and then just pull them down towards you like so. And what you're looking for is you want the top one just going off to the right hand side at this point here, and the bottom one going off to the left a bit. And the bottom one is the one with the red end on it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom one, or the one with the red end on it, and I'm just going to flip it over in my hand and then pass it over the top like so. And you can see now here what I've got is I've created a loop, and it's going underneath itself. So let me hold it just there. It's going around underneath itself and then back to my fingers, or the other way round. It's coming from my fingers. So all I've done is I've just basically twisted it like so and then brought it round over the top so that it's coming from my fingers over the top and around and then underneath itself at that point there. Now that we've done that, the other thing that we're looking for as well, where the loop is that we've created here, it wants to pass over our other strand. So the top strand that hasn't got the red marking on, so that one hasn't got red on it, that top strand wants to be visible through that loop that we've created there. And now we take that strand, the one that hasn't got the red marking on, and we pass it underneath that one there. And what we're doing is basically we've passed it underneath. We're then going to go over the top of that one, underneath itself on that one there, and then over the top of that one. So I'm just going to pull a bit through and then take it so that I pass it over, under, over. Okay, and now what we can do is just gently pull up, and then as we pull up, you will see here a very familiar shape. If you're into decorative knotting, you will see a very familiar shape here. In other words, what we've tied here is the carrot bend, or a lot of people also say you're looking for a pretzel. And so for those who know what a pretzel looks like, or a carrot bend, then that's what you're looking for there. The next thing is to finish this knot off. What we've got to do is, there's my red end, there's my plain end. What we need to do now is, if I just turn this over, you can see our original strands where it's coming from, our actual, where we spliced it together at that point there. And what we're going to do now is, doesn't matter which one you grab first. So I'm going to take this plain one here, and what you're going to do is bring it around past that strand there that's going up there. And then once you've brought it past that point, you then want to bring it round and then pass it up through the middle of our knot. And there we go. That is the first one done. And now we get hold of the red one. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to take it around. And you'll see then, once we take it around, we need to pass it beyond that point there and up through the middle. So take it around, up through the middle. And there we have it. And then gradually, as you pull up, you can see your diamond knot has started to appear. Now, if you're worried about doing that knot, I will put a link to a separate video where you just tie this knot. Okay? And so now that we've tied our diamond knot as such, you can see it. Beautiful, beautiful decorative diamond knot. Now, the next thing that we want to do is, we've got a couple of choices here now. We can make sure that it butts hard against where those two lines cross over, where we cross them over, one went through the other. And you can work, so all you do is just push down, and as you push down, you will see that that lead there, for example, is moving. So what you want to do is just bring it round and just take out all the slack. But if we want to move it the other way, you can see those two leads are moving. And what we're doing, basically what we're doing is when we tighten it up, we're either tightening our knot that way or that way. Okay, I'm personally going to tie it so that it comes down towards the left a bit to form a nice point here. So to do that, I'm going to let's get out all the slack. Just gently pull out all the slack, and gradually as you pull out all the slack, your knot will become smaller, and that's all you need to do is just gently squeeze it. This Dyneema is so slippery, it almost falls into place itself. And so now you can see here now, it is a lot smaller. But as I'm doing it, I'm putting more pressure on the top to actually force it down to the left-hand side. Okay, and then once I've got it to the left-hand side as far as I want, all I'm going to do is just go around and pull out any slack that we've got in our rope as such. So just go around, follow it round, there we go, pull it up, and that's all you're doing is you're working your way round. Just pull out all the slack, and when you've finished, it's got to be really firm. That is solid. Okay, so that's what you're looking for, is a solid diamond knot. And look how much the difference in size. Both these ones are 6mm Dyneema, but you can see the difference in size. So all I'm going to do now is just push on that side there, pick up the slack, and then just gently, whoa, pulling the wrong one there, just gently work my way round and pull out all the slack. And that's all I'm going to do now, is just keep working round and pulling out all the slack until we end up with a really nice, see, I took a lot out there, so just push up again on the left hand side. I can see there's a bit of a loose end there, so I'm now going to, let's see, take that one through there. And the problem with Dyneema is it does catch slightly, so try and keep it in a nice weave. And there we go. I've pulled out some more and just pulled out that final bit there. And that's all I'm going to do now, is keep going round until we end up with a lovely diamond knot at this point here. Right, once you've swung off your diamond knot until there's no life left in it, you should have a nice hard knot at the end there. We now have a choice here. If we look at my silver one, what I've done is I've actually cut it flush at the top there, and so that I've just got the diamond knot itself showing. However, some people do like it that when you have your diamond knot, they have their strands sticking out here, and what they do is they just seize them together, and it just gives them a little bit more grip when they're taking it on and off the actual loop. And so now, in effect, we have, in a sense, completed our Dyneema soft shackle, because what we can do now is just feed those two ends. Okay, it looks a little bit scruffy now. Feed those two ends through, pass it over our loop, and then take out the slack that's in there. And you can now see, sorry, I fell off the table then. You can now see that we have created our soft shackle, and you just need to work it so that the outer core goes around and sits snugly against this point here. And so therefore, if you want to, you can then open it up and then slip it over your diamond knot. But if you want to, like I said, you could probably have a couple of strands or a couple of inches here to give you some extra grip. The choice is yours. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do with our shackle is we want to put on a release mechanism or a drawstring as such. And basically, when my shackle or soft shackle, the eye is very small, what I can do is just pull on that drawstring, and you can see now it opens up the eye of our Dyneema loop there, big enough for me to pass my diamond knot through, and then once I've passed my diamond knot through, just go round, pull it up nice and tight, and there it is. It's locked in position and it's not coming undone. And to get it undone again, you just pull on that drawstring and slip it over the diamond. So what I'll do now is I'll just show you how to add your lanyard or quick release lanyard at that point there. For my lanyard or the quick release mechanism on my lanyard, what I've done is I've chosen some red whipping twine. Just makes it easier to see against the yellow in case you need it in an emergency or something like that. And I've also got myself a little needle here. Well, little, it's big compared to normal needles, but it's big enough for me to poke my string through the eye. Right, so the next thing that we do is, first of all, let's load up our needle. And of course, I'm going to do this on camera so you can all see just how. There you go, I did it, blimey. Okay, so there we go. I have now threaded my needle. The next thing that we want to do is we want to open up the loop at the opposite end to our diamond knot. So just open up that loop and then open it up as far as you can. Once we've opened it up as far as we can, so I'm just going to hold it there in that position, I then want to pass my needle through at that point there. And what I'm going to do is just try and pass it through without catching anything on the side. So you want to get it in between the actual weave of your Dyneema. Now that I've done that, I then just bring it through and until that end goes through. So now I have got my quick release lanyard threaded. The next thing I'm going to do is just take the needle off. And then once I've taken the needle off, I'm just going to pull it at this side here so that both my red ends are equal distance or middled as such on my actual Dyneema. And then what I'm going to do now is just allow it to close up. Allow it to close up because it doesn't matter. Close it up. And then when it's closed up, what we're going to do now is, so it's now threaded. I have pulled the outer sleeve up on my Dyneema and our two bits of whipping twine are coming out here. Now, this is where I have a problem. You can now finish this off but just tying a simple overhand knot so you've got a knot at this point, something to hold on to. But, and this is where I hate myself, being also a decorative knotter, I like to, even when it's this small, I like to put a diamond knot here, similar to the diamond knot that I've created there. I'm a glutton for punishment. And so basically, to tie this diamond knot, all we need to do now is just bring it so that one goes over the top and then one is underneath that finger there. And I'm just going to bring them in and lock them in place at that point there. Now that I've done that, the next thing I want to do is get hold of that bottom left one and just form a loop in it exactly the same as we did when we did the big diamond knot. And you can now see it's coming from here, underneath itself at that point there, over the top there, and round to the back of my fingers, over the top at that point. I then take this one here, the one that hasn't had anything done to it, and what we're going to do is pass it underneath this one, over that one, under that one, over that one. So we're basically just weaving through. So bring it around so it goes underneath, and then take out a lot of the slack. Whoa, that just slipped. It's not easy to do. All for the sake of, in my mind, I know I've got a diamond knot there. And now we're going to go over that one, under that one, over that one. So I'm just going to cheat a bit and pull a little bit from that one, the middle through. Take it underneath, bring it round, and then pull up nice and tight, or not too tight, okay? And then now you can see here now, I have got that carrick bend has been created there. And what we need to do now is, that is the middle of our carrick bend. And so what I'm going to do now is just take that top one, bring it around, past that standing part there, just there, bring it round the back of that, and then up through the middle. And hopefully now I can let go because it's all locked into place. Bring it round and then gently feed it up through the middle. And there we go. That's the first one done. Now that we've done that, we take the next one, and this one here, so this left-hand one, it goes round the back of that one and then up through the middle. So there's our middle. So I'll mark a point, take it around the back of that one there, bring it up through the middle, and there we go. And now we have tied our diamond knot. And all I need to do now is just gently tease it down till I get it into the rough position of where I want it on my actual soft shackle. Get it into a rough position, and you want a little bit sticking out so that you've got something to grip a hold of, but just gently tease it down, and gradually it will pull up nice and tight. The knot will almost disappear in front of you, but you know, and I know, that we have got a diamond knot at that point there. And also another good reason for using a diamond knot at that point there is it actually gives you a slightly bulkier knot to grip hold of. And so now I pull that up nice and tight, and there we have it. We have our quick release lanyard there, and all I'm going to do now is just go up there, and I do love these scissors. If you haven't got sharp scissors, get these electrician scissors. They are absolutely wonderful. I don't know what electricians do with them, but for me, they're absolutely superb. And there we have it. We now have our quick release lanyard as such there. And as we pull that, you can see now I can make that bigger or let it shrink down and become smaller at that point. So that is our shackle almost complete. Like I said, what you can do is leave about that much on there, seize them together with some nice coloured whipping twine, or do what I'm going to do and just basically cut them off nice and flush. And just gently smarten it up. Okay, and you can even go around, give it a good haircut, and there we have it. We have now completed our soft shackle. And so when I just pull on that now, I can open up the loop, pass my diamond knot through, and then from this end, from the diamond knot end, just pull it up so it's nice and snug, and that is not coming undone at all. And once again, here's my silver one. And then just from the knot down, twist it round to lock it all in place. And then you can also have smaller Dyneemas, smaller Dyneema shots. So I can't even talk anymore. Give me strength. You can have smaller Dyneema soft shackles depending on what you want them for. But to be honest, that will hold a dog. There is no way that if this is on a dog's lead, this tiny little bit of Dyneema, the dog will never ever escape from that because it is so strong. So obviously use them with caution as well. So anyway, that was how to create a soft shackle, the quick version. Good Lord.